Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video we're going to be doing a super simple pretty pink Halloween set of nails. Now this set predominantly is a lot of stamping, mainly because I wanted to give you guys a bit of a closer look at the new Miss Lucy Halloween Doodles stamping plate. Now I'm not hugely into Halloween nails. I tend to go for more that cutesy kind of vibe, and this stamping plate had that written all over it. So as soon as I see this one, I had to get it. I did use it in a acrylic video recently, so I thought I would do a little bit of a gel polish design today using it. So jumping in, we are just working on display tips, and I'm going to be using all Kiki London gel products today. So this beautiful color here is vintage white. Now this particular color I absolutely love as a base for stamping, especially if you don't want a white base. This gives off a really nice off-white base, but because it's a light color, it still allows your stamping to really pop. So I've done 2 coats of this, curing each coat for 30 seconds, and then I have my stamping plate ready to go. I'm just going to give it a good clean with some acetone. Now I would have cleaned this after I used it last, but whenever I do any kind of stamping, I always like to start off by giving the plate a good clean. This just makes a huge difference. You might have missed a little bit of stamping polish when you were cleaning it last time. You might have even got something, even dust, a little bit of dirt on the plate while it's been in storage. So it's always good to start off by giving it a good clean, because that way you're giving yourself a good clean base to work on top of. Now I have left the first stamping in slower, more real time compared to the rest of it, and I went for this full cover image. I really love this one. As you can see, it's the whole love hearts design. I'm pretty sure she has this plate, or she has water decals from Valentine's Day, I think, with these, as I've definitely seen something like this before from the Miss Lucy line. Now with this particular image, it was quite a large image, but I'm working on, it's a full cover image, sorry, that's what I was meant to say, but I'm working on quite a large nail, or a long nail, so it didn't fully cover it how I wanted it to. So what I'm going to do is the 2 hearts that didn't fully cover at the top and bottom of the nail, I'm going to remove them just using my round nail art brush and a little bit of alcohol. So I'm kind of, because I'm working with alcohol rather than acetone, I'm having to give it a little bit of a scrub, but it's very easy to remove any unwanted image. Now up here in this corner, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the heart that hadn't stamped completely onto the nail, and then we are going to stamp another one down there just because the area was looking a little bit plain, and I wanted to keep this in and show you guys, because sometimes when you are working with full cover images on a longer length nail, you do need to play around a little bit to cover it. Of course, this is going to cover perfectly on a short or medium length nail, but sometimes on longer length nails you need to play around with your design a little bit. So what I decided to do was to apply my stamping polish again, scrape that image, roll and rock that stamper across the stamping plate. Then I'm going to take my lint roller and I'm going to take off, I was kind of at this point just looking at what heart I wanted to use, so I'm just taking off all the hearts that I don't want to use. I also use this method for cleaning up my stamper at all times, so the lint roller comes in handy. Then we're just going to press that little love heart down in that corner. You could have added, or I could have added, sorry, another one down at the bottom, but I decided not to. On to the second nail in this design, we're going to use the gorgeous Chick Flick from Kiki London. I wanted to try and find a pink that matched the pink stamping polish I used, and this was the closest one I could find, just so that all of the colours flowed together nicely in the set. So exactly the same as before, I'm doing 2 thin coats of this and curing each coat for 30 seconds. I do find with all of my Kiki London gel polishes, 2 coats is enough. I work quite thin with them, but they are very pigmented. Now on this design, before we go in with the stamping, I wanted to add some foils. So to add my foils, I'm going to be using the Kiki London foil gel, and then I have this really pretty lace foil. This one is from Charlie's Nail Art. So what I'm going to do is, over the top of the cured gel polish, I'm going to apply a thin layer of the foil gel, and I'm applying this to the entire nail, making sure we kind of cap over the free edge on the tip of the nail, as I want to fully cover this nail with my foil. And then once that had cured for 30 seconds, we're going to take that piece of foil and really press it down onto the nail. So I like to start off with my foils, making a good contact using my thumb and fingers, and then I'll switch to my silicone tool to help ease out any creases. Now I do always find foils more tricky to apply on these little display tip stand things than they are on real nails, just because you're pressing down and the tip wants to fling off. But once you have pressed it down enough and really rubbed out all of those creases, you can slowly start lifting off that backing sheet, and as you can see, that foil has transferred beautifully. I really love how it wasn't a too bright white, so it looks nice and soft over that pink base. This particular foil does pop a little bit more over a darker base, but I kind of wanted to go for that soft effect. And then on the top of this, we're going to add two cute little bats, because I wanted everything to look quite cutesy. Obviously it's still got that spooky Halloween vibe, but I think because we're adding in a lot of pink, it kind of softens everything and makes it look a lot more cutesy. Do let me know in the comments below what your preference is when it comes to Halloween nails. We do have a couple of weeks left to Halloween, so I am kind of thinking maybe I should push myself out of my comfort zone and do a more traditional Halloween set of nails. So a set of nails that is a little bit more spooky, maybe with some blacks, some reds, that kind of thing. But let me know what you think in the comments below. So on the third nail, I have already done my base of vintage white. So let's talk a little bit more about the stamping. So as I said, I always clean off my plate using some acetone. And then when it comes to applying my stamping polish, I like to apply a generous amount. Now I didn't like how this first image picked up, so I took that off, and basically I'm going to come in and do it again. If you pick up your image and you aren't 100% happy with it, you're better off removing it from your stamper than placing it down and then having to remove it from the nail. So if you pick up an image and you haven't picked it up correctly, or you know, it just hasn't transferred to the stamper, you're better off just cleaning that off from your stamper than applying it to the nail and not being happy with it. So then we're going to move on and add, I wanted these to kind of layer up a little bit. So I wanted to have my little ghost poking out from the pumpkin there. So as you can see, the pumpkin just layers over that top of that ghost. Kind of looks really cutesy. And I really love doing that with stamping. I love layering up images that might not necessarily need to be layered. That's another thing I wanted to mention about this plate. It does have a good selection of images. You do have a couple of layered images there as well. So back to the stamping, I like to apply a generous amount of stamping polish, and then you'll see I kind of just roll my stamper over the plate with a quick flick of the wrist. You don't want to apply too much pressure. It literally is kind of like a quick flick of the wrist, just making sure that the stamper head does make good contact with the plate without applying too much pressure. I find if I press down or apply a heavy pressure, or even just roll my stamper across slowly, then it doesn't pick up as nicely. So again, we're doing the same again with the little ghost peeking out from behind the pumpkins. And I just love how it looks. I love working with a clear jelly style stamper, as I love that you can look through and really see where you're placing down your image. I loved how this nail turned out. This was my favorite one in the set. So moving on to the third nail, I have already done 2 coats of Chick Flick. And then on this nail, we're going to do a bit of a marble. So I'm coming in and I'm using my Kiki London base coat, and I'm going to use this like a blooming gel. So I'm going to apply a thin coat of the base coat, but I'm going to leave this wet. So we're not going to pop this into cure just yet. And then taking my Kiki London palette, I'm going to start off by popping down a little bit of vintage white. And then I'm going to take my stripe liner brush and basically just run this colour through my wet base coat. So as you can see, because vintage white is a bit of a softer white, it does disperse quite faintly. So what I decided to do was also come in with some coconut, which is a brighter white from Kiki London, and this is just going to pop a little bit more. And I love this in marbles if you have a softer shade and then a brighter shade, because it adds a lot of depth to the marble. So again, doing exactly the same as before, just running that coconut down the nail, and because you're running it down into wet base coat, it's going to bloom and melt into that base coat and create that really soft marble effect. I couldn't get my words out there. So yeah, it's going to create a soft marble effect. Of course, there's lots of different ways to create marbles, and if I'm wanting a more softer look like I did for this kind of design, this way is what I prefer. If I'm wanting a more defined marble, then I usually create the marble on my palette and then transfer it onto the nail. I decided to add a little bit of glitter in here, so I'm going to take this gorgeous glitter gel polish from Kiki London. I think this one's called Rose Gold, but I'll double check and leave it in the description box below. And I just floated that through as well. Now on to the final few stamping. I went for these little cute potion witchy bottles. So as you can see, I've applied my stamping polish, scraped, and then I'm just removing anything that I don't want to transfer on the nail. And then I'm just going to line these up so it kind of looks as though the glitter is coming out of the bottles a little bit. And then I just press down. I would like to give my stamper a little bit of a wriggle and then pulled off. So like I said at the start, this was a very simple video, mainly because I was playing around with some different editing software for this video, and I was also playing around with some different lighting, so I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a trial run. But then I noticed whilst editing this, I do keep knocking my camera, and that's because I had my camera set up in a different position as well. So there was lots of things in this video that was a bit different for me. I have my camera set up in different angle and then using different lighting and different software. So I wanted to do just a simple video just to play around, and I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to upload it. I kind of was just going to look over it and then maybe just delete it and post the set to Instagram, but I decided to upload the set anyway because, like I said at the start, I did also want to show you guys a bit of a closer look at this stamping plate for Miss Lucy. So I am sorry that the video is not in the best that it could be, but I hope you all still enjoyed watching. The final step is applying our top coat. So I'm using my Kiki London top coat, and I think I mentioned this in a video before, either on this channel or on the Kiki London channel, but this is my go-to top coat for stamping because I find it applies over stamping absolutely beautifully. Some top coats give off, they kind of make the stamping makes the top coat separate, if that makes sense, but with this particular one I find that it doesn't. The only main difference with this top coat that I do find is it does have a tacky layer that you do need to wipe off. So once I had cured this, I was just removing that tacky inhibition layer. A lot of top coats we use nowadays are no wipe top coats, but this one you do need to wipe it. And then once I had done that, this was the finished result. If you did enjoy today's video, then please do give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment below and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Do also check out the description box, as I do have a couple of discount codes for Miss Lucy and Kiki London, so they will be in the description box below. Thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.